Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Tiffany. I am a school psychology intern this year, and today I thought it would be super fun to read some of your assumptions about me and about the field and the job. I asked a while ago, I'm sorry it's taken this long to film this, but I asked you guys on Instagram to send me some assumptions, and I actually got some pretty decent responses, so let's get started. I have never made one of these videos before, so I hope it's okay. Like, go grab a drink, grab a snack, and enjoy. The first one I have is you have hundreds of students and it can get overwhelming. That is very true. I do have hundreds of students. As an intern, I guess I do share the students with my supervisor. We serve one building, but they, at least on my main placement, she expects me to do most of the work and she kind of supervises everything I do. And there we have around 800 students to one psych. In the elementary schools, you usually get 2 elementary school assignments because those schools are smaller, and so you end up having hundreds of students and multiple buildings. So that's very true. I think it does get overwhelming. I don't know how psychologists serve multiple buildings. I am struggling with my rotations right now, just trying to get everything done with the allotted time that I have. And it's I'm trying so hard not to take work home because I don't want to lug my work computer around and write reports after I get home from work. I've already put in my 8 to 9 hours of work and commuting, and I'm already tired when I get home, and then I have to sleep early and wake up early the next day. So, and even on the weekends, I don't want to do work on the weekends. I've already worked during the week. So it's something that I'm trying to do. I think I'm getting better now that we're in person. I kind of have better boundaries than when I was working at home. If I took a longer lunch break because I was home, I would kind of fill that in with doing more work in the evening or doing work on the weekend. But now that I'm in person at work, it's easier to set those boundaries. You do tons of paperwork. That is so true. I think before I got into the field, I didn't really know what the job entailed until I took my first role and function class my first semester. And it's so much paperwork. It's so much writing, so many forms, a lot of file review. Now that we started virtual, everything was through the computer. But if you're in person, you can go and look at students' cumulative folders, and they have all of their paperwork that you can browse through. And you kind of need that for your background section of your reports. And so even just reports alone is a lot of writing and paperwork. And then on top of that, you have permission slips and forms that you have to fill out for special education eligibility. There's so many forms, and I don't mind it right now, but it's something that I didn't really know that I had to do before jumping into grad school. Someone said all you do is test, and then they submitted one more and said, which isn't true. I think a lot of people do assume that we do a ton of testing, and that is true. In some areas, some districts in some states, we are used solely for testing for special education eligibility. But I think we are sort of shifting to a more overall mental health role, which I think is good because we have so many skills. We have so many functions in the school that we can serve, and as long as you don't get overwhelmed and you can do all of those roles well, I don't think it's a bad thing to branch out and do more than just testing. Okay, someone said, to be honest, you make me feel like you have it all together. That is so not true. If you've seen my most recent vlog, I am literally running around all the time, rushing. Oh God, there are many days when I have to make a to-do list multiple times a day just to get my life together. And so I think it's great that I make it seem everything's going well and I have it all together, but I think it's just my personality type. I have to work really hard to make sure I have everything planned and organized and all my ducks in a row, because if I don't, everything is everywhere. My EF skills down the drain. So that's false. I think it seems like you are very well read and more confident than most interns. I feel it's just so much easier, obviously, when you're just talking to a camera and editing, rather than talking to another person, because you can't control the way they react to you and what they say to you. You can only control what you say and how you feel. Here's an assumption about the job. The job, low pay, there's a lot of burnout, no alternative jobs with a degree. I read a scary post on Reddit, haha. That, I feel it's kind of accurate. Like, I don't think it's fair to say like, yes, across the nation or the world, this is the case. In California, I think you can get a starting salary of 100K, which is not bad, but you have to consider the living costs of that area. In some areas though, you do get like $30,000 to $40,000 starting, and yeah, like the living cost might be low, but that is a terrible salary for an educator in a stressful job with a master's plus degree. Like, that is ridiculous. There is high burnout. I think a lot of people try to do too much and there's just so much stress. The ratios are totally off. Like, we need more psychologists and mental health professionals in the building, and there's like not enough support. I think that's true, and that's why people like Rebecca Brandstetter, they're finding ways to help practitioners not get burnt out so quickly. No alternative jobs with a degree is sort of true. I made a video on that. I'll leave it in the cards above. And that is because I think it is kind of limited, and we have so many skill sets from our degree, but there's like, it's a school psychology degree. So what do you do other than school psychology? We can apply our skills to other things, but there's no like set like titles that school psychology degrees can branch out to. You kind of have to be a little creative. Maybe you have to create these roles, or maybe you have to branch out to like a behavior interventionist or something like academic, or I don't know, like executive functioning coach. So yeah, I think that's why people have a hard time like looking for other jobs with a degree. And I think there are a lot of scary posts online, like on Reddit and Facebook, where people are feeling so like discouraged from their job. Like, there are people that have worked for a few years and maybe even 10-20 years and they're done. Maybe they are fed up, they've had enough, and they need a career change, they need a break, and that's fine. But there are also ways to avoid a lot of that, or slow that down at least. Someone said very organized and neat. Nope, not at all. Like, the reason why you can't see the rest of my house is because it's super messy today and we are cleaning after I film this video. You don't procrastinate. Also, this one, like, I think I'm just like a B-type personality. I'm just very relaxed all the time. I procrastinate, I'm very disorganized, but you know, in the end, everything works out. As long as you like, you find a way to pull everything together at the end, you're fine. You might be a little bit more stressed towards the end, but it's just different ways of doing things. That you are really smart and retain your information very well compared to the average norm. I think personally, like, I learn very quickly, but I've realized recently, like throughout college and like after graduating college, my memory, my working memory and my short-term memory and long-term retrieval are very poor. My mom and I always joke that like we both have like limited vocabulary, because like we'd be talking and like we can never like think of the word that like we want to use, but like we know there's like a better way to like describe what we're talking about. It gets frustrating. Remembering things like off the bat has been a big struggle, like in grad school and internship, and that's why I always carry around a notebook. I always try to like write notes down. I think it's probably like good practice for anyone, because you are not Spencer Reed from Criminal Minds. You are not going to remember everything. So get in the habit of writing everything down and accessing those notes all the time. That's fine. Like, you don't have to know everything all the time, but having those resources and like practicing pulling from those resources, that'll help you remember. Yeah, something that I'm working on right now. You hate making mistakes at work. I'm this way and it's a fault of mine. I hate making mistakes, especially at work. I think it's really important to like own up to your mistakes and learn from your mistakes. Of course, everyone makes mistakes and that's totally fine. Like, everyone makes mistakes, but I think it's important like how you learn from those mistakes and react to those mistakes that sets you apart from like the majority. I definitely do like beat myself up when I make stupid mistakes at work, if I say the wrong thing, and that's why I'm like even more careful now as an intern, because a lot of times like the things that we say, it impacts like big decisions for families or their perspective on the school and family, school, like relationships and partnerships. So I am working on like not being so hard on myself even though I'm like very like loosey-goosey and like type B personality. I still hate making mistakes. Staff at your campus come up to you and ask to evaluate their kids or kids they know. Yes, teachers. Of course, the teachers know the students better than we do, and they interact with them every day and keep track of like their academics, but they are not trained in psychology and they're not medical professionals. So like even we can't diagnose students. A lot of them have experience dealing with different kinds of students. So they're so quick to say, oh my gosh, like I think this kid has blah 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 disorder, like can you test them? Like they're definitely special education. And that's problematic because we never want to make assumptions. We never want to like diagnose a child and put them in a box or give them a label before we have any data. So that's true, it does happen. I know like I heard a lot of stories about that back in grad school, but now that I'm in internship and I'm back in the buildings, I see it happening like in person. All right, counseling is your favorite part of the job. This is, I think it's like sort of true. At the beginning of the year, I was terrified of counseling because I felt like I didn't have enough experience, and I still feel like I'm gaining that experience. But now that I have a couple students that I am working with, I actually really love it. I'm using solution-focused counseling and CBT. It's been so fun like connecting with middle school students and just like learning from them too. And yeah, like you can interview and like do testing, and I love that part of the job too. But counseling, like teaching them skills that they can use moving forward to help them access education and like cope with their emotions and things like that, it's been really rewarding. You have the summers off. Mostly true. I think a lot of districts, at least around here, they require 1 or 2 more weeks of work. That's included like in your contract hours, and I think it kind of sucks, but you get paid more, so it's like a give and take. Like yeah, you won't have like the full like 2.5 months off, but like what's like 10 more days of work. So yeah, I mean for the most part, like I am looking forward to the summer and even spring break. Like I cannot wait to just have like a few days off where I can just sleep and catch up on like Netflix and catch up on a lot of my hobbies that I've kind of neglected for a while. Next one, you provide individual therapy to students that qualify for mental health counseling. Sort of true. So for students with an IEP, if there's counseling in the IEP, that's kind of required counseling, and only specific people in the school building are allowed to provide that counseling. So in Virginia, I don't know if this is like nationwide or not, but the social worker and the psychologist are allowed to provide that counseling for the student if it's on the IEP. I don't even think I'm allowed to do that like legally right now as an intern. But we can also provide counseling for students without an IEP or without counseling on their IEP, as long as it's short term and we have parent permission. So we do like to run group counseling, where I'm counseling a middle school girl that I don't think she has an IEP, but she just needed like a little bit more support and some like coping skill building, and so I'm meeting with her. So they don't necessarily have to qualify for mental health counseling, but if they do, we do have to provide that. You are loyal to a football team that needs to be upgraded. This is totally unrelated to school psychology, but I am very loyal to the Washington football team, and they just changed their name from the Redskins, and they definitely need some help. I've been loyal to them for a very long time. Like I grew up in the Virginia, Maryland, DC area, so I've been watching them for a while, and they've been terrible. I thought we had some hope last season, but even then, like my heart was crushed. So we'll see how they do next season. We have a new coach. We're looking for a quarterback, and I'm excited for the new season to start. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun reading your assumptions and responding to them. Most of them were actually true, and I feel like I learned so much about this field and this job during internship compared to just being in grad school. So if you guys are currently in grad school, I'm so excited for you to like actually go in the field and do the job and like learn so much from that experience. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. Don't forget to hit like if you enjoyed this video. Come and subscribe, join the family if you're not subscribed yet. When I check my analytics, it says that like more than 60% of my viewers are not subscribed. So I see you. Make sure you subscribe. It'll help me out a lot. and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!